What happens when two of the Middle East's most powerful countries view each other as existential threats? The rivalry between Iran and Israel isn't just a regional dispute. It's a conflict that influences global energy markets, military alliances, nuclear diplomacy, and the foreign policies of major powers like the United States, Russia, and China. Today, we're breaking down the history, strategy, and future of one of the world's most consequential geopolitical confrontations. How did the rivalry begin? Surprisingly, Iran and Israel were not always enemies. Before the 1979 Iranian Revolution, Iran maintained diplomatic and economic ties with Israel. Both countries shared concerns about Arab nationalism and Soviet influence in the region. Everything changed when the Islamic Revolution brought Ayatollah Khomeini to power. The new Iranian government adopted an openly anti-Israel stance, portraying Israel as an illegitimate state and a symbol of Western influence in the Middle East. Since then, hostility between the two countries has become a central feature of regional politics. The core strategic conflict. At its heart, the Iran-Israel rivalry revolves around three major issues. First, regional influence. Iran seeks to expand its influence through a network of allies and armed groups across the Middle East, often referred to as the Axis of Resistance. These include organizations such as Hezbollah and other groups aligned with Tehran. Israel sees this expanding network as a direct security threat. Second, Iran's nuclear program. Israeli leaders have consistently argued that a nuclear-armed Iran would fundamentally alter the regional balance of power and pose a serious threat to Israeli security. Iran insists that its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes, but concerns over uranium enrichment and weaponization have fueled decades of tension and sanctions. Third, military deterrence. Both countries seek to convince the other that any major attack would come at an unacceptable cost. This constant effort to maintain deterrence has led to cyber attacks, covert operations, proxy conflicts, and increasingly direct military confrontations. From shadow war to direct conflict. For years, Iran and Israel fought what analysts call a shadow war. Israel allegedly targeted Iranian military assets, weapons shipments, and nuclear facilities. Iran, meanwhile, supported regional groups hostile to Israel and expanded its influence across Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. But in recent years, the conflict has become more direct. The period from 2024 onward witnessed unprecedented exchanges involving missile strikes, drone attacks, and direct military confrontations. Analysts increasingly describe the relationship as having moved beyond proxy warfare into open strategic competition. Why the world pays attention. This rivalry matters far beyond the Middle East. The region sits at the center of global energy markets. Any escalation raises concerns about oil supplies, shipping routes, and energy prices. One of the biggest concerns is the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway through which a significant share of the world's oil exports pass. Any disruption there could affect economies around the globe. The conflict also affects international diplomacy. The United States remains Israel's closest security partner, while Iran maintains relationships with powers including Russia and China. As a result, regional tensions often intersect with broader great power competition. Chapter 5: The Future. So what happens next? There are three possible scenarios. The first is managed competition. Both sides continue to avoid all-out war while relying on deterrence, diplomacy, and limited military actions. The second is regional escalation. A major strike, miscalculation, or proxy attack could trigger a wider conflict involving multiple countries and armed groups. The third is diplomatic stabilization. Although difficult, renewed negotiations on regional security and nuclear issues could reduce tensions and establish new rules for coexistence. Conclusion. The Iran-Israel rivalry is more than a dispute between two states. It is a struggle over power, security, ideology, and influence that shapes the future of the Middle East and affects the global economy. Whether the next decade brings diplomacy or escalation, one thing is clear. The relationship between Iran and Israel will remain one of the most important geopolitical fault lines in the world. If you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments, what do you think is the most likely future for Iran-Israel relations?